Hey guys, I'm Richard Fitzgerald. This is Dubai Works, where we interview the business leaders making a difference in this great city. Hey everyone, last week of the month, and it's another great episode this week. It's all about data and freelancing and remote working and all these trends that business owners are looking at the moment with resources and how to look to the future. So it's a really interesting one. We do touch on AI at the end as well, but we will tackle AI a bit more in the future with dedicated episodes. It tends to come up in every conversation these days, but we'll dedicate a bit more time to it. In the news, you will see on Smashy Business website and on social media that there are a couple of fundraising announcements this week, two that I'll point out here. Same figure, $2 million, one in the UAE called WellX in the health and wellness sector, and an insurtech platform in Saudi Arabia called Decisive also raised $2 million. We were also covering the launch of new properties at Expo City in Dubai called Shamsa Properties. So Expo City will be livable, and Shamsa Properties are the first sort of residential launch there that happened this week. I would like to also pay respects to the passing of Sheikh Zayed bin Zayed as well. He's the brother of the president of the UAE who passed this week. Allah yarhamo, and do enjoy the conversation. Welcome back to another episode of Dubai Works Business Podcast. This week, I'm joined by Jadd Elliot Dib. He is the CEO of Pangaea X. They are a digital platform that aims to bring together the world's best data analysts and scientist freelancers from around the world onto a single platform and to open up a multiple of job opportunities. Good morning, Jadd.
Morning.
That was a mouthful. I got analysts tongue twister. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Pangaea.
So Pangaea, we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel or anything. So it's a freelancing platform, which already does exist. But we are the only freelancing platform that concentrates on data analysts and artificial intelligence and everything to do with data professionals. So the data industry is a huge multi-billion-dollar industry around the world, right? And it's just starting. So everybody's talking about AI, everyone's talking about data, every company starts gathering data, and they need to know what to do with that data. And right now, because it's such a young, fresh topic, a lot of companies struggle with wanting to hire in-house. So what we do is we give them an opportunity to hire freelancers. There's a lot of freelancers, there's a lot of talent, thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of data professionals around the world, and they don't have a proper 9 to 6 job, and they're freelancers. And they have the knowledge. So what we do is we give them a platform where they can start bidding on jobs. And it's more about your knowledge, if the quality of your skills, rather than who you represent.
Okay, fascinating. And when did you start the business?
We started developing this whole business during lockdown. And as soon as lockdown opened up post-COVID, that's when the business really started for us.
And Jadd, is your background in data yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a computer scientist by trade. That's what I studied in university. So I had the background. I specialized in data in my first consultancy job. And when I saw the opportunity, I just decided to go for my bread and butter. This is what I do. So, why not concentrate on what you're good at?
And how did you go about it? We're a couple of years in now, sort of what stage is Pangaea now?
So, as of today, I can't say exactly the numbers, but as of a couple months ago, we have thousands of freelancers in over 80 different countries around the world. We have almost 300 different clients. We're doing well. It's been a slow a slow process to get to where we are right now, but it's the speed of where we have gotten is just a testament of how young the industry is.
Hmm.
We have a proven formula. We've proven that the world is interested in data. It's interested in artificial intelligence. Everyone's talking about it. But they're just not as well educated on the topic. So this is where we come in. We educate. We give them a platform, and it's our numbers speak for themselves as of today.
Amazing. So you're live, it's active, you've built a marketplace, you've got the both parts that are needed in a marketplace coming together, clients and freelancers in this case. And you also built it out of Dubai to a global audience, not regional. Was that a decision did that happen organically, or was that a decision from the start?
I think it happened organically because this is where I'm situated. This is where I started my professional career, but also because of what Dubai is, who Dubai is as a whole. Dubai is such a young city, part of such a young country, and the advancements made here in Dubai, um, they're like no other. There's no other country that can do what Dubai has done in the last 20 years. And I didn't see myself starting a company anywhere else. And to be fair, I don't think I would have been able to. You know, Dubai is a very young market, but that's not a negative thing. That's opportunity for a lot of entrepreneurs and business people. There's a lot of opportunity here in Dubai. So if I would have started something like this in a very mature market like in Europe or in the States, I don't think I would have been able to get to where I am today, or maybe it would have taken a lot more time.
And the other part of that question is, like, how did you choose to be a global company? Like 80 markets is a lot, isn't it, from in the early stages?
Yes, we have concentrated a lot in the region and in the Asian market, more specifically India, Pakistan, and Philippines, around that area, because we've seen a lot of talent coming out of that area. But so we've concentrated there, but we've also we've made it known that we are global.
Yeah.
We don't want to cut ourselves out from the start. We want to make sure that everybody knows that we are global. We have clients all the way in the States, and they're hiring people halfway around the world in India or here in the UAE. We are a global platform. Now, if we're talking about our marketing and who we go for and who we try to encourage, yes, we concentrate right now to try and conquer one area and then move on to the next. So we've got a good, healthy balance of a little bit of both. You know, concentrate in one area, but also we're globally available.
The nature of the marketplace, the fact that it's freelancers, obviously they can work remotely, so you can accept clients and freelancers from anywhere.
And I also think it's the beauty of what COVID was. COVID proved to us that we can essentially work from home.
The beauty of COVID, yeah.
It's a blessing in disguise, if you will. It showed us that the world does continue. Yes, we're from home. We're not physically in the office, and we're not doing face to face, but 21st century, we can do calls online. You know, we can see each other via camera. We can communicate properly. There's no lack of communication anymore, not with the technology that's available to us.
I want to go into the data analytics and AI part, but just a little bit about the decisions you made. So you choose to do a marketplace. You didn't choose to say open a consultancy because you were an expert in your background. And another big decision that you made is you focused on freelancers, not all sorts of professionals. Was that strategic? What because people might want to find full-time data analysts or full-time AI experts, but so you chose a marketplace and then you chose freelancers. Why did you come up with that?
So the point behind why we initially created Pangaea was we started seeing people enjoy their freedom. and that's their right, right? They should have as much freedom as they choose to. I have a blessing to be my own boss. I wanted to disrupt the market and give everybody that blessing. If anybody has the skill set and you can be your own boss, then so be it. Let me give you a platform for you to bid on projects. And if you have the skills and you're worthy of that job, then go ahead. Go ahead and be your own boss. Choose if you want to work from 9 to 12 and you get the project done, that's it, done. You move on to the next project. I think everybody should be happy in the morning when they wake up and try to earn a living. And if you get what you put in, if people want to work 24 hours a day, so be it. But if they want to choose the freedom and work 3 hours a day, you get what you give. So if people understand that and really they just want a living just to sustain themselves, then they have that choice. And also, I wanted to disrupt the market in the sense of I have been what you just you asked me about the platform being a marketplace. I have been a consultancy. That's where I started my job, my first professional job. I was in a consultancy. I was in a big four firm. And then from that consultancy, I went on to a smaller boutique firm consultancy. And we always had the same issue. The issue was we cannot compete with the big four firms. The name is something. Everybody always wants the big name, right? If I always say a piece of gold, a kilo of gold is a kilo of gold. Doesn't matter if you slap on a Cartier or Louis Vuitton logo on it, it's a piece of gold, right? So the quality is there. If the freelancer has the knowledge and quality, it doesn't matter who they represent. It shouldn't matter. And that's what I wanted to disrupt. I want to give an equal chance to everybody as long as you have the knowledge and skill set.
And how's it gone? Because sometimes people request to use things in different ways than not that the product changes, but the features change, and then maybe the overall offering can change. But is it on track now? Like the people that are using it in the way that you thought they would?
They are. There are some people that are using it in the way the world works even more right now, in the sense of outsourcing. So what are we essentially? We as freelancing platform, we are an outsource basically company, right? You come to us and you tell us your requirement, and you post it on the platform, and you post it on the marketplace, and we outsource it to our freelancers. Everybody bids and says, this is my budget, I can do it for whatever it is, but it's outsourced. So we've actually it's taken on a life of itself, if you will, where we are actually getting freelancers bidding on projects, and then once they are awarded these projects, they go ahead and post another project on the same marketplace, and they outsource. If you can find somebody to do what you're looking for cheaper than what you're willing to do it for, then there's that margin. And this is what it's all about. Actually, I've seen firsthand consultancies accept projects and they don't have the professional skill set to do it. But what do? They go and outsource it. So it's the same concept. People come to us, they outsource, and then those people outsource, and so on and so forth. So the world works with outsourcing right now. It's been a proven formula for a while, and now it's gaining even more traction.
And where did the name come from?
So Pangaea, historically, there's the science behind the Earth being millions of years ago. It was one continent. It was one mega continent, a supercontinent called Pangaea. There was no Asia. There was no Europe, Africa. There was nothing. It was called Pangaea. And that essentially speaks to what we want to be. We want to be that one supercontinent for data analysts, data professionals, artificial intelligence professionals, all of that. We want to be that one place where everybody comes to for that.
Wow, nice name. That's cool. Did you raise funds?
No, we did not.
Bootstrapped it?
Yes.
Is it profitable?
As of now, no. No, it's not. But our valuation speaks for itself. So our valuation is definitely in the profitable margin. But are we profitable on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis? No, we're not. But right now, the last 24 months of our business, we've treated this as a more testing and optimization period, where we're really trying to get our product to an optimal level. And then once we get to where we want to get to, and once we need the funds, we will go out and start getting seed money and so on.
And because usually when you're building a marketplace, there's tech and there's marketing. Usually those type of companies do need funds. Is it because, as you said, you're sort of getting it right first, or is there a bit of that the market is a bit challenging at the moment?
I don't see it as a challenge. I don't think it's challenging. It's we're trying to prove something on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And essentially we have done that, and we're just trying to build from there organically. We've proven the formula works. We want to get to a certain size before we start looking for outside investment. One, I think that speaks to how highly we think of ourselves and how we truly believe in our mission and our platform, our product, our company. We truly believe that we can be something big, and we don't want to give anything at the very early stages when we're not essentially needing funds. We want to grow to a certain size where once we go out and get investments and partnerships and so on, where that really makes a difference. Right now, in this period of testing, optimization, and development, we don't need that.
Okay, so so the customer experience. So, say I'm a client, I'm a company, and I'll give you a real case example. Sure. We have, say, Smashy. It's a streaming service. Sure. There's loads of off-the-shelf software for analytics, be it for streaming analytics or be it for subscription analytics. And then there's some that are bespoke and SaaS products that should work perfectly, and then there's some that sort of are more mainstream, like Google Analytics, that you can kind of retrofit. But we've got Love and Dubai, we've got all these different analytics things, and we haven't yet hired a head of analytics or data scientist. Sure. But every time sort of an intern comes or a product person comes, we always go, oh, that's really cool. It's visualization. We can automate reports. We can look at data. We can make decisions around content. We can watch our churn. There's so many different things we can do on top of the historic way of looking at, say, web trends, Google Analytics, or your e-commerce data or your social media data. There's many other business metrics we need now. So I'm a perfect client for Pangaea. Sure. I jump on. Do I put a brief up? How do I pay? And is it typically, when I've used freelancer platforms before, like Fiverr or Upwork, it's kind of like there's a 20% margin, and I can use the person that we find for 20 hours on one-off, or I can use it a longer term. Sure. Does it work like that?
Similar in the sense of, yes, you post a brief, you post your requirements, you post your budget. That's one of the key things. You post your budget and you say what you're looking for how much. Now, what we want to do is fit you with something that fits your budget and fits your requirement. We don't want to fit one of those criterias, fit your requirement, but then the budget is way out of your budget. No, we want to find everything that you're looking for, not just part of it, right? And we give the freedom to the freelancer to bid on your project. Just how consultancy firms send out proposals. You have some freelancers preparing proposals, posting full-on proposals, background about themselves, their resume, their CV, their references, what they can do, even going to the point of, these are your requirements, I can do something better. I can do your requirements and then some, right? And that's where we see the value of going that extra mile. Now, when it comes to payment, what we do for freelancers as a platform, we guarantee their payment. So we take payment from the client upfront, and we hold it, almost like an escrow service, escrow-like service feature. We hold the payment, and because this is our bread and butter and we know what we're talking about, when they deliver something to you, and if you're not happy with it, then we can step in and check, is this the requirement? Have they fulfilled the requirement? If they have not, then we can kind of step in and make sure both parties are agreed that yes, the requirements have been fulfilled. And if they have, then what we call, you initiate a handshake between yourself, the client, and the freelancer. Once that is done, we, as the escrow service uh, feature, we release the payment to freelancer.
Mm.
What we've seen in the past is freelancers struggle with getting payment. They spend time and effort doing all the work, and then let's be honest, there are some dishonest people in the world, and
Bad
what
actors.
once you release the work to them, or you tell them, look, this is the work, I'm going to send you a document, you can give me your feedback, and then they run away with that work and they never pay the freelancer. We want to take that headache away from the freelancer and give them comfort. Don't worry about the admin, don't worry about the invoicing, don't worry about your payment, we're guaranteeing it.
Mm.
Just do the work, concentrate on the requirements, make sure you fulfill everything, and your work will be paid.
Mm.
As per your point of the 20%, we do take a margin, not from the client, from the freelancer, because what we see is we're giving a place for the freelancer, and we're providing a service of all this admin stuff, and our fee is somewhat fair, in the sense of, we're not really trying to make a profit. We're just trying to give you this platform and this one place to go to, and we just want to maintain and sustain our servers, our databases, our website, further development, R&D, whatever it is. And our fee is actually under all of the, let's say, the indirect competitors that we have.
Mm.
It's actually under it. So we're more towards 17.5%, and we justify that 17.5%.
Okay. Recently, we had a guest from Remote Pass, and something interesting about them is they started off as during the pandemic as expenses software, and then they pivoted to remote working. And what they have on their platform is kind of four options. One is a full-time employee, so regulated by a local entity in their name. So say in Qatar, it would provide the visa.
Sure.
And then the more common one, which is for independent contractors, which is really what they're set up for. So it's more of a fix, similar to full-time. It's got leave and everything, and it's got a local contract. But they also have, say, a freelance, short-term freelance option, and paid by KPIs and deliverables.
Sure.
So do you have different types of options? So say I needed, like a CTO, say I needed a chief data officer, and I needed them for a 12-month project. Could I do that through Pangaea?
We do have the options for ongoing long-term projects. However, for hiring a full-time, we don't really, let's say, dabble in that just yet. It might come in the future. Right now, what we're concentrating on is one-time projects, freelancers getting hired and getting paid for their project. Now, if you want to add a secondary project, that's fine. Go ahead, post another requirement. You can invite your preferred freelancer to that project. You can just go directly with them. You don't even need to accept any other proposals. That is there, so to speak, but we don't. We're not going in the direction of full-time employment. That's not what we kind of had in mind. Now, if we do see more and more requirement for it, obviously the future, we don't know what the future holds, but we do have different options. We don't just have individual freelancers. We actually have over 100 different companies that are registered with us, and they are pre-approved by Pangaea. So we look at their company profile, we look at them, we do an online interview with them, and before verifying them on our system, we verify them physically. Are they a verified company? Are they a registered company? do they have the services they claim? And we do have companies on our website. So it's not just freelancers. We do have companies. We have companies here in the UAE. We have companies in India, consultancy companies that work in data. And we do actually see them bidding for obviously larger projects. They're not going to start bidding on $50, $100 projects. But the larger ones that we're talking about, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 projects, we do see them bidding on those projects, and some of them get awarded to them and so on.
Yeah.
But then we also have a third option, which is goes back to our initial mission of allowing people to be their own boss. If you want to create your own virtual company, we give the option to freelancers to come together and create their own virtual company. So if I know there's a big project and it requires something that I don't have, not the skill set that I don't have, but I know another freelancer that has that skill set and I'm willing to work with that person, there's an option on Pangaea where you can create a virtual team, a virtual company. And you can come together as freelancers and create your own virtual company and start bidding on larger scale projects.
That's interesting. Yeah, because some of the scope and the briefs require more than one person and one skill set.
One person can never have all the skill sets you're looking for.
Yeah.
For larger scale.
Yeah, I was going to kind of bring that topic up about the sort of business development people sort of infiltrate some freelance platforms. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking a lot in the web development space. Yeah. You put a job up and suddenly people are all over your LinkedIn and people are messaging, and it's not actually, the representative of companies, but they're not the developers. They're using this as a biz dev channel, which you can't really get beyond, right? Like it's part of the industry, is it?
It is. So, it's tough to police that. But at the end of the day, why are they there? They're there because it's part of their job, business development, right? If they think that their own company is able to fulfill whatever requirements that they're looking at, then so be it. You can bid on a project and you can take that to your company, and as long as you fulfill it, we have no issues.
Yeah, and they're there because they know it's data and they can do the data, or their company can. But on the individual side, how do you sort of regulate it? Do you do the same check? Like, for example, could someone go up who isn't a data person and sell other services?
So we're kind of the opposite of some of the companies that you mentioned before. I prefer not naming competitors.
Fair enough.
But so we're the opposite. The control is not in the freelancer's hand, in the sense of it's not a shopping cart module. Right? It's the client posting their requirements, and the freelancer comes to the client and says, I can fulfill those requirements. Nowhere do we have as of yet, and we don't have any plans of going in this direction, of a freelancer posting and saying, these are my services. It's $20 an hour, because we're not that type of to provide a place where freelancers are selling themselves. I don't believe that freelancers need to sell themselves. I think each freelancer has their own skill set, and it's whatever skill set matches the requirement of the client.
So the client, how do you know that they're any good?
We have verifications, we have checks and things like that. So we, a bit in the sense of, Instagram has the verified tick. We have something similar where we also, not only do we pre-approve companies, we pre-approve some of our freelancers, so they do become the recommended freelancer. How do we do that? We go down to the physical interviews. We do online interviews with them. They have to pass certain assessments. Now we're developing something that's going to go further into in-depth assessment to see how far they can claim that their skills are. Right now it's very basic, but we do our checks, and we would never recommend anybody that doesn't have that particular skill set that they say they do.
One of the things that you mentioned earlier was that sometimes they come back and they say, oh, here's something else I can do. And that sort of seems very specific to me, to this type of work, because the scenario that I described that we're in is that we don't always know what we're looking for.
Exactly.
Like, we don't know exactly what to put in the brief. So and people who are experts at data analytics, AI, things like that have many, not just many ways of doing things, but many outcomes. So how does that work? And then also what sort of trends are you seeing at the moment? It's like what's the majority of the work? Like what's good?
So actually, if I go a step back, we wanted to be, like I mentioned, we want to be that supercontinent for absolutely everything related to data, right? And that goes all the way to understanding what I can do with my own data. So actually, a few weeks ago, maybe even a month and a half ago, we released our own version of Threads before Threads even existed, right? We had no idea about Threads. There was no correlation between the two. But in our mindset, we wanted to give freelancers and potential clients the one place where they can start discussing what things can be done with certain data and people, because people are willing to talk for free. You don't necessarily need to hire it. And we've seen it through platforms like Reddit. We've seen it through Facebook groups. People ask questions and they explain, okay, I have this much amount of data coming from a certain system. I don't know what I can do. I'm not a data analyst. What do you guys recommend? And you get hundreds, if not thousands of replies saying maybe 90% of those replies are not worth your time, but then maybe 10% will actually be worth something. And they explain to you that, like, you know what, I recommend that you start cleaning out this data. Once you have clean data, you can plug it into a report, you visualize the entire data set. Once you have a visualization, you can go into predictive. Once you go into predictive, they can come up with these suggestions. We want it to be the whole journey of data on our platform, from the knowing what to do with the data to, once you know what to do from our community and our forum, you go onto our platform and you post a requirement and say, you know what, now I know what I need, this is what I need. And then you hire and you pay and you get your deliverable. We want it to be the entire journey of the data, let's say the data analysis and predictive, all of that from scratch, from even understanding and knowledge. We also have a separate section of our website which is educational purposes, to understand what you can do with data in certain industries. Always posting on a regular basis to inform people, because like I said at the start, part of our journey and our responsibility is also educating, because it's such a young market. We find ourselves that we need to educate on the potential of data.
Yeah, and it is a massive potential. There was someone in here recently, I think they're kind of a Canadian consultancy, and they asked me, how much revenue are you making from your data or something like that? And when I said almost nothing or a low number, and like directly, they shocked me with a big statistic. And they said every company needs to be making X amount of money or something like this. 20% of your revenue should be from data, or 30% or something like this. I don't know if you've heard the statistics, but how to actually get there is the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say that people should be monetizing data companies?
100%.
But how?
100%. It goes to this very famous saying that everybody's repeating nowadays: data is the new oil. And it truly is. If we want to go a different direction, we can even talk about the next war will be fought for data. It's not going to be oil. It's data. Everybody is fighting for data. What are people or companies like Twitter and Threads, what are they fighting for? Users. What are users? Users are essentially data, right? They just want to gather more and more and more and more data. Why? Because data is a way of monetizing anything and everything. When we're talking about data, I personally, I look at data as numbers. It's numbers, no matter what it is, whether it's your sales of the month, whether it's users, whether it's personal information, whatever it is, it's just numbers for me. And you shouldn't, as a company, you shouldn't be letting these numbers go to waste. You can do something with it. If it's not directly to monetize, it's to increase whatever you're currently already doing, right? If you can use the data to properly start targeting specific people, instead of targeting the wrong audience, use your data to back up your decision and start targeting the right audience so that your success rate is not 7%, it's actually 15%. That will then eventually translate into monetization, but it's about increasing your success rate.
Yeah.
Data does that.
Fascinating. And so what areas, like what sectors are doing this well at the moment and what sectors haven't started? Or is it case by case in companies?
I think it's really case by case, but I've seen a lot of different industries, but bigger companies do the whole data journey well.
Like e-commerce companies, the good ones do data well.
Yes.
Financial institutions,
Yes.
airlines to a degree, travel,
Airlines,
transport.
airports,
Yeah.
supermarkets. I have actually started, and some use it for what I'm gonna say a good cause, and some use it obviously to increase their profits. That's which is fine. It's whatever their goals are. But some, for example, are using data in order to limit food wastage, which is a noble cause, and it's obviously, yes, it's for a good cause, but at the end of the day, it's also increasing their bottom line. Why should we order as a company, as a restaurant, as a supermarket, whatever it is, when we know it's going to be as per the last 5 years of our data gathering? We know that July is a slow month. Why should I be ordering 20 kilos of fresh chicken every day if I know I'm only going to sell 12?
Making informed decisions.
Right? Backing up the decisions and making data-driven decisions. We're no longer in the time where we have to make gut decisions. I'm not saying gut is not good. A lot of times gut has served a lot of people very well, but we're in a place now, in a century now, where we can back up our decisions with data.
Yeah, you can use both once you have all the numbers.
100%.
Yeah, and so a little. What about privacy? Regulation. How does it work on your platform? Like obviously, with the internet, GDPR is quite a big thing, and you were kind of mentioning sort of not bad actors, but people using data in the wrong way. Like so, some people might sell customer data to other companies just as a transaction to generate revenue. So how is that regulated, and where are we at the moment?
So for us, I'm going to speak on our behalf as a platform. When a client shares data, it's shared through an encrypted messaging service that it's safe between those two parties. It's between the client and the freelancer. We, as Pangaea, we're an independent party. We do not have access to see anything that is shared between you guys as the client and freelancer and service provider. There's also the options that we give where you could ask, if you don't feel comfortable, you can ask the freelancer to sign an NDA. Again, that is, I think it's more of your risk appetite. Obviously, if you're hiring someone halfway around the world, to enforce that NDA becomes a slight struggle. So obviously, it's also it's you as the client, it's your responsibility. If you're willing to share certain data, and you can make it into dummy data, because what data analysis and visualization, reporting, automation, all this stuff, it's a template, right? You create a template and then you plug and play the data that you're going to keep receiving on a monthly basis.
Yeah,
it's a one-time effort, right? So we have instances where we have a whole let's say franchise of barbers in the States, and they don't share their exact financials with their freelancers, but they share, this is the template that we need, this is what we're looking for, this is dummy data, create a visualization and a predictive model for me for whatever, for the year, and I just want to be able to plug and play the data that comes in. So tomorrow I get new data, I just plug it in and it shows me what the possibilities are. So it's kind of your responsibility as a client, what you're willing to share. I mean, us as human beings also, if I tell you something, how can I be sure that you're not going to go to someone else and talk? And
You can't.
You can't. It's
Privacy.
about what you share.
Yeah,
Right?
but
It's your
in terms of governance in general, you know, if people are trying to be more compliant and have internal policies around data, can they go to Pangaea and ask, like, do they go to a law firm? Who do they get to write their data policies? Can we get freelancers? Like,
yes, there are professionals that have the knowledge and have the know-how, and actually that have the certifications on writing data policies internationally, or whether it's EU based or the policies in the States. Every country has their own specific data policies. Obviously, there's the one general data policy that everybody kind of goes for is the GDPR, but there are professionals, just how there's governance professionals, there's audit professionals that know how to write certain policies and procedures and know what. So there are professionals in that domain, and you can get them as long as they're certified and they have the know-how. But not only the know-how, do they have the certification to prove that they have the know-how, right? If they have that, then they can write your data policies.
Interesting. So two areas where I can see a bit of overlap is one on the development side, and then another on the sort of similar UX UI development, but also like development and managing software, right? Like, you know, managing databases. Like, I'm not an expert, but like there's big database companies like MongoDB, Magento, all these companies. And often global companies license those services, and then they need people to manage them. Is that where you can come in as well?
Yes, we do have experts in specific softwares. Do they come in and manage your software? I wouldn't say they come and manage your software. If you have a project and you want, or you have a requirement and you want this, you want a policy or something to be developed, or you want a project to be developed where you're sorting out your database, you're creating some tables, and you're kind of getting it in a good structure and a good model and so on. Yes, if you want someone to physically come in and kind of manage your software on a monthly basis and be here full time kind of thing, I don't think that's the direction that we're going in.
Yeah.
Because that goes into, again, the full-time employee and full-time having someone here managing your whole.
Yeah, I get it. But I think if someone knows their challenge, then they can decide if there's a freelance requirement.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. And then on the second side of that, you know these super apps that are very trendy in vogue as a word now, but you know, from sort of outside looking in, it seems to be that they're managing lots of data, and they're hiring people to manage that data. They're hiring people to look at things, to make the apps more efficient, not just in the UX UI point of view, or not just in a commercial point of view, or a product development or a code, but literally when you've got millions of users at once, it all comes down to data.
Yeah.
So is that an opportunity? Are startups going, okay, I need, as well as my UX UI guy, as well as my 20 developers, I need my data guy to be all 100%. Over it.
You're gonna need, whether it's today or in a year's time or in 5 years' time. We don't know how fast companies are really taking data seriously right now. Every single company that you can think of has been gathering data for the past 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it may be. Have they been using that data? No. In a general sense of the question, no, they haven't really been using the data properly. So yes, they're gonna need a data guy. Every company is gonna need a data guy eventually. Whether they're in denial and saying, you know what, our IT team can handle the data right now. No, the IT team is something very separate.
Yeah.
A data guy, a data person is someone that has the knowledge on what to do with that data. It's very different being able to just do what you're told and then coming up with initiatives of, this is the data that we have. as per my professional knowledge, I think that we could do XYZ. We can streamline this service. We can use this data to back up this decision. We can look at anomalies. We can make our profit more. A data person will know what to do with data. If you're not a data person, you can have some ideas, but whether those are, la la land ideas that are not feasible, you wouldn't be able to know if you're not a data person.
Yeah, no, I think us in particular, an example I gave, I could give a few more. Like we clearly know it's needed. It's about, that's why this conversation is fascinating. I'm definitely going to check out Pangaea, set up an account and give a specific brief, but it's that sort of bigger picture of going, is it a department? Is it a person? Where does it sit? What's the investment? How do I measure it? And, or do I want to measure it in terms of that consultant advice of, should I be generating revenue from it? Or am I just being smart with my data and I'm having better visibility to make more informed decisions?
So a lot of people are actually, or a lot of companies would probably say that they're at the same stage as you are, where they're not sure. They know that there's potential with data, but they're not sure where to start. It's kind of overwhelming. I don't know, should I make a commitment and hire a full-time person and see what they come up with? But maybe they're not, they don't have the specific knowledge that I need at this point in time. Maybe they come a bit later on down the line. And this is why we're seeing a lot more people turn to freelancers. They're like, you know what, if I don't want to hire and make the commitment of hiring full-time in-house, providing all the sponsorship and all that stuff for something I don't know that I need, let me go the freelancing route. Let me see how that goes. And if it works, then maybe in the future I can look at hiring an in-house and so on and so forth. But why make the commitment if you're not sure?
It's a good way to experiment. And so kind of switching topics a little bit, but for AI, in the last 12 months, how many AI experts have come out of the woodwork?
Not even the 12 months since November last year, when the buzz of the world was ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Everything kind of 10x'd. Everything, all the data professionals out there, all the certifications, all the educational programs, everything have 10x'd into artificial intelligence. Everybody's talking about it, so therefore there's a market for it. What is the potential that comes with it? What are the risks that come with it? And I always say I'm fascinated by a software like ChatGPT, right? And I absolutely love the concept. But then you also have the dangers of it, where you've seen over, I think, 13 or 15 different countries around the world have now banned ChatGPT.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Italy is actually one of the first ones in Europe, and a few other countries will follow suit in Europe, because with this amount of knowledge and I don't want to say laziness, but it does encourage laziness to the sense of people don't do their work anymore. Students and kids don't do their assignments anymore. With great power comes great responsibility. It's a very cliche little quote to say, but it's 100% valid. So I think technology and artificial intelligence in general needs to have some sort of limitation and needs to be monitored. You cannot have the full force of artificial intelligence given to you at your fingertips, and just there's not policing it, but there's no limitations. I think it's a beautiful thing used in the right way. But us as human beings, it's proven that we tend to push the limits and start using things for unnecessary purposes, right?
Yeah, definitely. There are some risks. And so coming to the end of the interview, sort of two questions to finish on. One is, what are your plans for the next year, next 5 years? Is it market-led? Is it feature-led? Is it growth? Or how do you see the outlook for Pangaea?
So I think for the next year or two, we're working on growth. We've reached a good optimal position where we wanted to be with our product line. Our development is at a good level. We're never stopping development. It's always pushing. It's always developing new features, minor or major. We're always working towards the next best thing. we're never stopping, because as soon as you stop, you start falling behind. But if we're talking longer term, 5 years, once we get the growth that we need, we're going to look for outside investors, and the plan is to go public in the next 5 years.
Brilliant.
So I like to say I want to give the power back to the freelancers, and with that comes giving the company back to the public. So going public.
Nice. And in the region? Depends.
Probably Europe.
Probably Europe.
Yes,
Even
because
though
that's where I grew up. That's where I spent most of my time. I know the market in Europe and so on. I don't know if there's a place for us in the States, because of independent competitors have already reached a level that it's hard to compete with. So I'd rather go to a market where I think I can make enough noise to make a difference.
It is fascinating. You mentioned Italy, but even we see Threads has been blocked in 27 European countries. Like, Europe seems to be very strict on regulation. Not that you shouldn't be, but it just seems to be blocking some innovation, stifling it, like fines for everything and data and all that sort of stuff, which is maybe good. I mean, they're the ones who led GDPR. But okay, so
I say Europe, and who knows what the future holds. Maybe it's here in the UAE, going public here. Maybe you never know. I mean, the UAE has given me everything that I have today. It has given me the opportunity to create Pangaea. Then why not go public here in the UAE? I don't know what the future holds, but
and sort of to that point, you know, you started a business here. What's your outlook of the region? Are you sort of optimistic? You know, obviously the Gulf countries are having good economies at the moment, but sort of, you know, do you see that continuing? Are you happy to sort of continue to build a business out in the region?
100%. I wouldn't see myself anywhere else, professionally and personally.
Wow.
This region and this country has so much opportunity, and just the vision of the leadership here, the vision of the region, the neighboring countries here to the UAE. Everybody is working towards something, because there's such a young country, there's a young market, and the limit is sky's the limit.
Brilliant. Brilliant positive note to finish on. You know, if I was ticking boxes, Jadd, of what you've discussed today and what's an interview, you've got so many elements. We've ticked off AI, we've ticked off data, marketplace, homegrown Dubai business. So well done. It's great to hear about Pangaea, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
Love seeing startups like that, ones that when I'm listening to, I'm thinking of how I can use them and how I can check them out as well. So I hope you found that useful. Thank you as usual to Shahir Al-Kindi and Ali Khalil, who put together this show. It goes out on smashy.tv website, mobile apps, smart TV apps. Do check on your smart TV at home, see if Smashy comes up there. If not, send us a message anywhere at Smashy TV or Smashy Business and let us know. And our tech team in our Augustus Media Cairo office will try and get on that smart TV, roll out the apps there as well. We're really looking forward to our next season coming up, the 2023-2024 UAE season of local sports. We'll be announcing a new sport soon. We've got futsal, volleyball, and handball on Smashy, and there's a lot more podcasts and shows as well. Another big announcement I'd like to make is that we've just launched Cairo Works. So the Egypt version of Dubai Works has just launched with an episode this week in Cairo. I'll shout that out a bit more as we go along this as well, and let you know who the guests are. As always, this is a Smashy Business production as part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Catch you next week.